Ernest Miller Hemingway, July 21, 1899, July 2, 1961, was an American novelist, short story writer, and journalist. His economical and understated style, which he termed the iceberg theory, had a strong influence on 20th century fiction, while his adventurous lifestyle and public image brought him admiration from later generations. Hemingway produced most of his work between the mid-1920s and the mid-1950s, and he was awarded the 1954 Nobel Prize in Literature. He published 7 novels, 6 short story collections, and 2 nonfiction works. 3 of his novels, 4 short story collections, and 3 nonfiction works were published posthumously. Many of his works are considered classics of American literature. Hemingway, working on his book For Whom the Bell Tolls at the Sun Valley Lodge, Idaho, in December 1939, born July 21, 1899, Oak Park, Illinois, U.S. died July 2, 1961, aged 61, Ketchum, Idaho, U.S. Notable awards: Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, 1953, Nobel Prize in Literature, 1954, Spouses Hadley Richardson. M. 1921, Division 1927, Pauline Pfeiffer. M. 1927, Division 1940, Martha Gellhorn. M. 1940, Division 1945, Mary Welsh. M. 1946, Children. Hemingway was raised in Oak Park, Illinois. After high school, he was a reporter for a few months for the Kansas City Star before leaving for the Italian front to enlist as an ambulance driver in World War I. In 1918, he was seriously wounded and returned home. His wartime experiences formed the basis for his novel A Farewell to Arms, 1929. In 1921, he married Hadley Richardson, the first of 4 wives. They moved to Paris, where he worked as a foreign correspondent and fell under the influence of the modernist writers and artists of the 1920s Lost Generation expatriate community. Hemingway's debut novel The Sun Also Rises was published in 1926. He divorced Richardson in 1927 and married Pauline Pfeiffer. They divorced after he returned from the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, which he covered as a journalist and which was the basis for his novel For Whom the Bell Tolls, 1940. Martha Gellhorn became his 3rd wife in 1940. He and Gellhorn separated after he met Mary Welsh in London during World War II. Hemingway was present with Allied troops as a journalist at the Normandy landings and the liberation of Paris. He maintained permanent residences in Key West, Florida, in the 1930s, and in Cuba, in the 1940s and 1950s. He almost died in 1954 after 2 plane crashes on successive days, with injuries leaving him in pain and ill health for much of the rest of his life. In 1959, he bought a house in Ketchum, Idaho, where, in mid-1961, he committed suicide. Ernest Miller Hemingway was born on July 21, 1899, in Oak Park, Illinois, an affluent suburb just west of Chicago, to Clarence Edmonds Hemingway, a physician, and Grace Hall Hemingway, a musician. His parents were well-educated and well-respected in Oak Park, 2, a conservative community about which President Frank Lloyd Wright said, "So many churches for so many good people to go to." 3. When Clarence and Grace Hemingway married in 1896, they lived with Grace's father, Ernest Miller Hall, 4, after whom they named their first son, the second of their 6 children. 2. His sister Marceline preceded him in 1898, followed by Ursula in 1902, Madeline in 1904, Carol in 1911, and Lester in 1915. 2. Grace followed the Victorian convention of not differentiating children's clothing by gender. With only a year separating the 2, Ernest and Marceline resembled one another strongly. Grace wanted them to appear as twins, so in Ernest's first 3 years she kept his hair long and dressed both children in similarly frilly feminine clothing. Hemingway's mother, a well-known musician in the village, 6, taught her son to play the cello despite his refusal to learn, though later in life he admitted the music lessons contributed to his writing style, evidenced for example in the contrapuntal structure of For Whom the Bell Tolls. 7. As an adult, Hemingway professed to hate his mother, although biographer Michael S. Reynolds points out that he shared similar energies and enthusiasms. 6. Each summer the family traveled to Windermere on Walloon Lake, near Petoskey, Michigan. Their young Ernest joined his father and learned to hunt, fish, and camp in the woods and lakes of northern Michigan, early experiences that instilled a lifelong passion for outdoor adventure and living in remote or isolated areas.